Previously on Chop Cut Rebuild.
It's no better than when I left it.
It might be a little worse.
Is that right?
Sometimes you got to wreck it to fix it, right?
Well, I think the wreck it part was taking care of us.
I would agree.
Game plan for today was to get the frame rails here, get them cleaned up, get them stripped, ready to go to the blaster so they'd be blasted and primed and ready to be put into the car.
Wesley, do you want to do this or supervise this?
Well, I'll do this one because it's got more stuff to come off.
Okay.
And I'll supervise you doing that one.
Chop Cut Rebuild came to the Daytona campus. We put a program together where we were going to build a custom van, and we thought, boy, this is a perfect opportunity to include our Daytona campus. So we came up with the idea of building a custom chopper from the same period.
They wanted to build old school like, something period from the late 60s, early 70s. So we come up with having an old Ironhead Sportster.
The first thing that we did today was that we put the cowl on the Camaro, and then we put the cowl side panels on the Camaro. I got to see detailed how a lot of our parts fit and exactly how they fit together.
Go ahead. See, you do yours, and then I'll do mine, and then Mike can judge.
Okay.
How much better yours is.
I think it was a tie between the two of them in the welding contest.
Tide and time wait for no one as the sparks continue on another episode of Chop Cut Rebuild.
This is Chop Cut Rebuild. Real cars. Real techs. Real deadlines. Hosted by Dan Woods. Chop Cut Rebuild.
We knew our fun in the sun wouldn't last forever, so our Sportster journey brings us north once again.
Wildtech's Daytona campus specializes in motorcycles and recreational vehicles. They're not really equipped to handle body work that's done on traditional four-wheel vehicles. So the components for the bike have been sent here to Blairsville. And in Blairsville, they've got more than enough students to throw at just about any project. Morning, guys.
Morning, Dan. How are you?
I'm good. How you doing?
Good.
Good to see you.
Hi, I'm Paul Dominic. I'm the electives coordinator for the Wildtech Blairsville campus.
So is this our motorcycle team?
This is our motorcycle team.
Nice.
Motorcycle parts arrived yesterday from our Daytona campus. They're building a retro 70s style chopper. Daytona doesn't do the custom paint on their campus. That's why they sent them up to us.
So where's the rest of it? Like, this is all you got?
This is all they shipped up to us. They kept the motor in Daytona. They're rebuilding it. When Dan arrived this morning, we were starting to prep our parts. We were sanding the gas tank down. We were sanding and doing metal finish on the fenders.
You've got a front fender and a rear fender, but I don't know if the front fender is anything I saw in any of the designs.
They sent up the front fender. We're going to prep it, paint it, and then they can install it and see what it looks like on the bike.
Okay.
And we could either go with a front fender or without a front fender.
All right, so what can I help with?
You can help with cutting the fender and then...
I'm very good at sanding and grinding.
Perfect.
All right.
We got plenty of that to do for you. I had Shane working on the tank, and I had Greg and Charles working on the two fenders, and we assigned Dan the motorcycle frame to Scotch-Brite.
My name is Shane Sparks, and I'm originally from Richmond, Kentucky. It's pretty obvious that the tank had been painted many times before this, so we had that working against us. What we used on the tank was a 320 grit on a DA sander, and we just used that to kind of knock down the surface to get it ready for paint and to smooth everything out really well.
The fenders we trimmed and kind of put a little radius on them so that they just weren't squared off. Kind of gave them a little retro look to them. And then we had to metal finish them down to remove any rust that was on them. Dan's very good at maybe getting someone else to do some work for him.
There's two guys there doing that. And there's one guy there and he's got a power tool, and I'm here by myself with this big thing. Hey, you got a second? So this Scotch-Brite stuff.
Yeah.
Do you try and do it like you're doing body work, like you try and do the hatch thing?
No, you don't have to. Just basically you're just using the Scotch-Brite to put a little bit of tooth in there.
On the front part, how would you do? Would you do that differently than this flat surface? Or?
It's all pretty much exactly the same. Just working the pad around on the substrate.
Okay, I see. That's good. Really? Hey, hang on a second. I'll be right back. So in school, they don't really teach them enough about what I call EBD works, which is everyone but Dan.
After we got all the components prepped for paint. We moved them over to the paint booth.
My name is Brian Swola. I'm an instructor at Blairsville Wyotech. So we have 3 mounting points on the frame, and we'll have 2 mounting points on the fenders here. Definitely better to hang something, that way we can get a full 360-degree angle around the spray. I chose the 035 MIG wire for most of the parts just because of the heavier steel construction, especially with the frame itself.
I selected Shane to do the primer work. Shane has been through the street rod program and did a very good job. Shane was actually won my custom paint competition that I do here on campus.
Well, I knew I wanted to take street rod, the course, and that really turned me on to the custom paint side. I really hope they give me the opportunity to maybe airbrush on the van or the motorcycle.
Hey, y'all done? How'd you do?
Came out pretty good.
Nice, tank looks good. Beautiful. So what kind of primer is this?
It's a primer sealer. It just goes on underneath the base coat to make sure to keep the bare metal away from the elements.
So you can leave it in this coat for a long, long time? Yeah. Okay. So did you get everything done you wanted to do?
I think so, but I'm not really sure what to do with that.
Oh, no, don't do anything with that. Leave it alone.
This portion of Chop Cut Rebuild is brought to you by AMD, Auto Metal Direct. The name says it all. Our bike may have moved north, but the AMD Camaro was still enjoying one last day in the Florida sun.
Yeah, quite a good selection of safety glasses I had to. Oh, this is on. Okay, that looks good. Nice job.
My name is Randy Irwin, and I'm one of the co-owners at Real Deal Steel in Sanford, Florida.
What do you do for a reference point here? What do you don't just throw the door up? Right?
We actually have a go, no-go tool that we put in to tell us where the quarter is going to try to be.
Right.
And we adjust the door to the front of the rocker and along the bottom. Huh. My name is Mike Vineyard. I work at Real Deal Steel in Sanford, Florida, and I assemble the Camaro bodies.
So then once that's on, you're basing that on the gap on the rocker then, right?
Correct.
Then we build the rest off of this gap here?
Yes.
Good. So what can I help you with next? Other side?
Other door.
All right, let's do it.
Today we planned on skinning the outer car, installing the doors, the quarter panels, the roof skin, the back glass panel, and the taillight panel.
First thing we did when Dan got here was we hung the left and right outer doors.
To hang the doors on the car, we first bolt the door hinges to the doors, then we hang the doors off of the cowl, and then we rough the doors into matching up with the outer rocker.
We like to roughen the doors first so we can make sure we have a decent gap to start off with. So we move on to the quarters and the roof skin, everything will line up pretty decent.
Okay, I think those hinges will work better than my hinges. What's next?
Next, now we can move to the quarters.
Okay, get a quarter.
Proper gap on the Camaro is a 1/4 inch along the bottom of the door, between the rocker and the door, and then between the door and quarter, 3/16 of an inch. That's what everybody looks at when they walk up to a car, is the door gap, quarter gap, hood gap, and all that. So gaps have got to be a big point.
After we had the doors installed, we started moving on to the quarters so we can get them in place, so we can glue them, and then move on to the roof skin.
So you've got this prepped already?
Yes.
Okay. Nice to know you worked late last night.
Somebody has to.
Yeah, somebody does.
Right. We're going to put this 2-part epoxy down on here. The quarters and the roof skin now get 3 steps. They get the epoxy to glue on, MIG welding, and spot welding to hold them together.
That's exactly 3.
Yep.
Okay. Don't do anything more than that.
No. When we install the quarters, we like to put glue on the C-pillar so it goes into the drip rail, and we use our tech screws to line it up for a back glass.
I can't imagine that in 1969 they used a 2-part epoxy. So what did they use back then on the assembly line for this area?
They had them all in one piece on the side when they went on.
Oh, they did? Yeah. Okay, so this is not the same assembly method then as was done on the assembly line?
No, we're taking them farther.
Okay, all right. So this is not 2 pieces, this is all 1 piece on the assembly line?
Yeah, this is all 1 piece.
Okay. So you've just got that held on now by the screws at the front?
Yes.
So only the front of the panel is holding this up?
Correct.
So is this the point where you tell the new guys you'll be right back and you go to lunch?
Yeah.
And you leave me hanging on to this?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
We use a number 8 tech screw to hold the sheet metal in place. They'll stay in until we've completely welded the car, whether it's MIG welded or spot welded. Those screws stay in, then nothing moves. The panels we're getting now from AMD really fit nice. And with the factory 18 gauge steel, we can really push and pull on them and get them where we want them to be.
Okay,
Now
1, 2.
1, 2. We can drag the welder over.
Oh.
And we'll weld here first.
Okay.
Dan had a rough start today. Maybe it was his helmet, maybe the batteries are running low, but he got 2 out of the 5 pretty good.
Not so great. Kind of messing up today.
You get it. Dan gave up after he looked at his other 3 welds, and he handed me the torch so I can go after it and try to clean them up for him.
Huh? What do you think? You want to touch it up?
Sure.
Don't touch that one or that one. Those are perfect.
Okay.
It's the other 3.
Another 3? Okay. I was very happy with how the roof skin went on there. It laid right into where it should go, so it doesn't have any rough edges. After all the parts were on the day, we're going to have to put the trunk lid on, weld the wheel tubs to the outer rockers, the seat platforms for your seats, and the dashboard to go in it.
The overall project's probably about 75% done. It's all outer skinned, what we call the doors, the quarters, the roof skin, taillight panel, back glass panel. Once we install the outer sheet metal, it really starts to look like a Camaro. You can see the end of the road and you know the car's going to be done.
Everything okay?
One day I'll show you how to do that with burning holes in it.
This portion of Chop Cut Rebuild is presented by Wyotech. Make your passion your career. Turn pro at Wyotech. You may not see motorcycles listed on the main marquee in Blairsville, but so much of what is listed are transferable skills.
An epoxy primer sealer can make metal last for months before you have to worry about painting it. That's a great thing. However, we only have days to turn the bike metal around. Morning, Shane.
Morning.
How are you? So you got all your stuff ready?
Yep, we're gonna go with a core silver from PPG.
Okay.
And we're also gonna use their JR506 reducer. Yesterday we did some prep work on the motorcycle tank, the frame, and the fenders. And today we moved on to the base coat. Reducer just brings the consistency of the clear coat or the base coat to a sprayable consistency. It was a bit shocking at first when they asked me to work on the bike, and I felt privileged to be able to work on it.
I went in after Shane had the first layer of base coat down. We checked it to make sure there was no runs, and everything looked very good. They're building a retro 70s style chopper.
So what, is it another coat or a clear or what?
We're ready for another coat. One more coat of base, and then we'll go with our clear.
Okay, good. Good stuff.
Along with the motorcycle tins and frames, the Daytona campus sent up the seat that goes on the motorcycle. We're going to redo this in our trim and upholstery department.
Right, they don't have that program down there.
They don't have that down there. So I'd like to introduce you to Martin. Martin is the head of our trim and upholstery department.
How are you?
Very good. I've known about the van for months now, and then I just recently found out that there was a bike too, and that the seat was coming with the parts. The state of things when Dan arrived with the seat were about half and half. I had half brand new items and half old beat up items that I still had to keep for reference.
And this lovely piece of carpeting.
That's also going in the trash. Got to make a new one of those too.
All right.
I had my student Gary help me with the insert work. He sewed the pleated squares together for the insert because I'm choosing a tufted square look with buttons. All right, Dan, this is Gary. He's going to be helping us today.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Dan. My name's Gary Pitcher. I'm originally from Liberty, Indiana. Martin asked me to create the inserts for the motorcycle seat. I was simply taking the squares he had already pre-cut and sewing them together.
The first thing we did to the seat was cut and shape the new foam to the old pan. When we had to put the new foam onto the old pan, of course, we used contact cement. I let Dan loose on that one, and he did a great job.
Okay, well, already I'm thinking it looks better than this.
By far.
So this is you call this high density foam.
Yep, a closed cell high dense. That's going to work a lot better against the vibrations of the engine and overall rider comfort. Whereas they had the old open cell foam that was injection molded and that breaks down too fast.
Now this sits for how long?
We can actually trim it down to shape now.
Here or in air conditioning?
I got the saw ready to go.
Okay, all right, we'll stay here.
Trim and upholstery is a skill transferable to any number of businesses. Custom and standard interiors are needed in cars, boats, limos, and RVs. A number of WyoTech grads have even found work building interiors for executive jets.
Once we had the new foam glued to the pan, it was time for patterning. The material I've chosen is a silver vinyl and a black vinyl. Vinyl has a much longer lifespan when it's exposed to the elements.
All right, so that's a lot of labor that you still have to do.
Correct.
But you'll probably have that turned around in an hour or two.
I'd say 30 minutes.
Okay, yeah, I'll see how they're doing with the bikes.
Okay, I'll be here.
The graphics we chose for the tank is the WyoTech 50th anniversary. We cut it out as a stencil with a vinyl lettering machine. And that way we apply the vinyl lettering onto the tank and then we'll mask off the rest of the tank so we do not get any overspray.
So everything is painted now, right, Shane? Yep. And it's what, 2 coats of base, clear?
2 coats of base, 2 coats of clear.
Okay. It looks great. What do you think of the tank?
Tank looks very good. This is one of 2 tanks that will be painted.
Right, yeah, there was another one that sort of went over the crossbar.
That's correct. We'll paint them both the same and then they can decide which tank they want to go with on the bike.
Okay, well the graphics look great, don't they?
Oh, those graphics look fantastic.
No, not those graphics, those graphics.
The Daytona is a special car, and salvaging used parts from '69 is a priority. But the fact is, there isn't enough quality used stuff out there that isn't already rusted or damaged. So selecting the best quality replacement parts is vital. AMD makes sure quality isn't a question.
If you've been following along with us over the years, this place is going to seem a little familiar to you. We're at the AMD Distribution Center in Buford, Georgia. And we've taken parts from here for Novas, Chevelles, Chargers, Challengers, Cudas, even trucks. But in all that time, we've never really asked them about the origins of the parts, what they've done to decide what part to make available to you when you need a restoration. The popular restoration projects like Camaros, Chevelles, Chargers, and Challengers make it really easy to determine what brands you're going to make parts available for. But the specific parts, well, sometimes Mother Nature gives you that answer. A big part of this industry is ongoing research and development, bringing new products to market. And a company that does more than just make fenders for you is really the company you're going to want to deal with. The brackets behind those fenders are vital, right, Aaron?
That's right.
How you doing?
Good. My name's Aaron Hopkins. I work at Auto Metal Direct, and I'm our technical service rep.
What do you got here?
This is the back glass for our Daytona project. I'm just kind of going over it, making sure we have the right date code before we send it out to the plug manufacturer.
So you're making a glass for a vehicle that only had 503 or 505 made in total.
That's right.
And you're date coding it.
Correct. This is the only piece of glass we date code because of the rarity of the car. When Dan dropped by today, the plan was to pull all the parts for the Daytona, take a look at the warehouse, and talk a little bit about development. Auto Metal Direct is a supplier of aftermarket bumpers, sheet metal, and glass. And what we do is mainly Mopar, General Motors, and GM truck line. Mid-60s to mid-70s.
Now this list is the stuff that Ted couldn't find or couldn't supply, right?
Correct, yeah. We've got a list here that are items that were either too rusty or too far gone that we couldn't get. So we're gonna supplement with our aftermarket product.
Because it's never too far gone.
That's right. When Dan showed up today, I was inspecting the rear glass for the Daytona. And this is a really special piece of glass. No one in the industry has made anything like this. It's a limited run of the car. So we don't plan on selling a ton of this glass, but it is available for those consumers out there.
Oh, we're definitely in the hood now, huh?
Most definitely.
Hoods and roofs and fenders. So these are big ticket items, right?
The main reason why people are going to come in here and buy a part from us to replace their existing part is corrosion. You know, you're dealing with 30, 40-year-old cars. Rust and steel go hand in hand.
And bad drivers help.
Fenders and bumpers, definitely.
So you got your own little mini salvage yard here?
Yeah, sometimes you got to wreck stuff to make it right, you know. So Dan and I were looking at some pieces we're developing currently. When we develop a piece here at Auto Metal Direct, we try to find the best possible example. That way we get the best possible part. Actually, this was went over as the original sample. And what we've done here is we've got our first prototype.
Have you ever bought a car just to get one part?
Definitely.
Really?
Yes. Sometimes you go search, and the only car you can find, you have to buy the entire vehicle just to get a quarter panel.
That must hurt sometimes.
When Auto Metal Direct develops a piece and we take it to the foundry to create the tooling, we'll get a prototype back. Sometimes we'll send it back 3 different times to make the corrections that we need to produce that high quality part. But we've got a good manufacturer that works with us to make those changes happen so that when we do go into production, we know we're producing the highest quality part.
All right, now is this our Daytona order?
This is our pile. We got two pallets full right here.
This is a lot.
The car needs a lot.
Now I look at a part like this and I say, this is really a demonstration of the commitment you guys have to helping people get the car completely restored.
Definitely. A lot of development went into this piece, a lot of test fitting. You're way into the car if you're going to fit this entire piece, but when you got a car that's completely wasted or crashed, you're going to need that piece. Most guys are just ecstatic when they get our pieces because they're looking at a brand new piece of metal that matches the OE.
I wasn't planning on this much, but I think we can fit it all in the truck.
So we had a couple pallets of parts there, about 60 pieces or so. So Dan, Dustin, and I loaded up the truck, got everything strapped down and ready to go so we can take it up to the installation center and get that Daytona project going.
All of this is so much more than a load of parts. This is a message that says we've turned the corner. We don't have to keep tearing down. We can start building our Dodge Daytona.
On the next Chop, Cut, Rebuild.
What's the front and what's the back right here?
Okay, that's the front of it.
Yeah.
Front of the car and the back. And then these rails are the ones we cleaned up the other day, and they're all ready to go. First thing we did when we got started was got the frame rails and the torsion bar cross member into position.
So once we had located the front frame rails and the cross member, we moved to the back of the car to locate the rear frame rails. That way we had the bones of the car together.
So the day when Dan came in, we was getting ready to put the front end on the bike. And with it being a Springer, and as long as it is, it's just a heavy, awkward piece of the bike.
From the concept we have now, we was going 70s, and it's straight 70s. Not my time period, but it looks good.
We made sure that we made our fixtures to go in these cars so that when we go to take them apart, they can go out piece by piece so we don't do any damage to any of the car that's already been done.
The way we pick up a Camaro is by bolting eye bolts to the rear seatbelt mounts and the front seatbelt mounts and the rockers.
There's more than one kind of belt to come as we venture out of the shop.
This is good. Might actually help me focus.
With Gear 49, it really has helped my focus on the track. I'm able to see clear. I call it HD vision.
First place, baby.
Get a jump and go fast on the next Chop, Cut, Rebuild.